Hello, today we're going to tell you a story about how Pakistan, due to bad luck and bad management, went into an economic crisis. Bhutto inherited a new Pakistan from General Yahya Khan, defeated in war by India, and he came to power as President of Pakistan. There is no doubt that the growth rates in the 1950s and 60s were particularly impressive, but the performance of the Bhutto regime is to be seen in the context of the circumstances in which it took over, and the problems that it inherited. It was the year 1972 when Pakistan People's Party came into power. Within days of taking over power, in January 1972, Bhutto had nationalized 31 major firms in 10 key industries which were iron and steel, basic metals, heavy engineering, motor vehicle assembly and manufacture, heavy and basic chemicals, petrochemicals, cement and public utilities. Other than this, Bhutto's government took over around the control and management of 32 life insurance companies as well. In addition to nationalization, extensive labor reforms were also initiated by his government, giving labor far greater rights than they had in the past. Bhutto promised to break the hold of the feudals and undertook extensive land reforms in March 1972. The government had decided that the land resumed from landowners would not receive any compensation, unlike Ayub Khan reforms in 1959, and this land was to be distributed free to landless tenants. The devaluation of the Pakistani rupee by 131% had important repercussions and removed at one stroke the subsidy the industrialist had received in the earlier period because of the overvalued exchange rate. This reform, together with the increase in procurement prices of the agriculture, which went up to 100% in this period, made a deliberate attempt to alter the pro-industry and anti-agriculture bias of the previous growth strategy. The success of the devaluation measure was apparent soon after when new markets were found, and exports in 1972-3 increased by 153% over the previous year, and the manufactured exports grew by 19% in 1973 and 74. Furthermore, the export bonus scheme, a key feature of the 1960s, was also abandoned. Availability of credit also played a vital role in the improved performance after May 1972, when the government had tightened its control over the banking sector. Some credit was available to the export sector and to small farmers as well. The GDP growth of money supply, the growth of commodity producing sector from the year 1969 to 1970 to 1 saw a considerable change. The real GDP dropped from 9.78% in the year 1969 to 0.30% in the year 1970 to 1. The growth of the money supply increased from 10.69% in 1969 to 10.80% in 1970 to 1, and the growth of commodity producing sector dropped from 10.07% in 1969 to minus 1.42% in 1970 to 71. Coming to the year 1973, a second wave of reforms in 1973 nationalized purchase of cotton from the growers and the rice export trade, as well as some months later, the cooking oil industry, the cotton export trade, petroleum and shipping was nationalized too. Longer-term prospects looked good for agriculture. Similarly, other industries like services, wholesale, retail, public administration and defense saw a noticeable growth within a year. Another major plunge which was seen in the banking and insurance sector from a whooping 29.1% to 6.4% in 1973, with a few downs and major ups in 1973, an increase in GDP from 7.2% to 7.7% in the year 1973 was foreseeable. However, this economic boom was short-lived. In August 1973, floods of intensive magnitude surged across the extent of the country. The immediate result was in the shape of skyrocketing prices in consumer goods. As if it was not enough, cotton crop continued to be affected by pests and floods. Additionally, the prices of imports touched the sky due to the rise in price of oil from $60 million to $225 million. This huge difference in price of oil was an international recession which was beyond Bhutto's government, which resulted in inflation of about 30%. The dollar was also devalued. Pakistan decided not to follow suit and increased the value of its currency to rupees 9.90 per US dollar. The result of OPEC prices increase also played a havoc with Pakistan's import bill, and balance of payments deteriorated. Bhutto's government saw this trend substantially reversed within a year with dismal growth rates.
While the first phase was the result of a well-thought-out strategy motivated by ideological forces, the subsequent phase was the outcome of ad hoc responses to various situations. Corruption grew exponentially, and access to state corridors became a primary avenue of accumulating a private fortune. The picture can be overdrawn, but it is basically correct, although understandable in view of the catastrophes which have befallen Pakistan in these years. This wave on January 1, 1974 nationalized banks, shipping and petroleum distribution. One outcome of these nationalization measures were the complete reversal of public and private sector investment. By 1974, the private sector investment had reduced to Rs 182.8 million from Rs 230.8 million in 1973, whereby the public sector saw an upward trend and had increased 75% from that in 1969. Now, these figures suggest that Bhutto's regime of nationalization was alone responsible for this trend, and there is no doubt that the anti-industrialistic policies and the uncertainty in Bhutto's era could also be blamed on lack of private sector investment. The private sector had lost trust in Bhutto due to his time and again promises of no more nationalization, and so their contribution to the economy was pretty evident. The fact that the economy had suffered after 1974 can be proven by the drop in GDP this year from 7.7% per annum in 1973 to 3.9% in 1974, with inflation at 26.73%. Agriculture sector, which was once the brightest spot for the economy, was now a disappointment. It saw a whooping downfall from 4.2% in 1973 to minus 2.1% in 1974. Particularly the external factors like 1973 floods, the pest attack, rise in fertilizers prices by 36%, and unavailability of water due to technical faults in the Bela Dam such that the water recorded in rivers was the lowest this year can be held largely responsible for this mishap. Majority of the agricultural crops were destroyed by the flood and pest attack, especially the cotton crop, which had failed by 25% of its capacity at a time when international cotton prices were at a rise. Thus, the increased demand of these crops led to more imports. The imports saw a boom with excessive expenditure, especially on public good measures, showing the negative balance between exports and imports in the years 1974, for example, 10,666 million. Overall, this year was the worst in terms of economy for Bhutto. 1975 was slightly better in terms of economic changes, although the GDP further dropped to 3.3% this year from 3.9% in 1974. But the growth in agriculture and other sectors cannot go unnoticed. The biggest achievement was the reduction in inflation to 11.66% from 26.73%. Additionally, the agriculture sector paved its way back up and restored its place in Pakistan's economy from jumping from a negative 2.1% to 4.5%. What more is to be appreciated is that after a considerable time in which no one is investing was the word of the day, there have begun to be signs in the private sector of increased investment or, more properly, of increased desire to invest. New stock market flotations on the Karachi Stock Exchange for the private sector were 5 in 1975, up from the 3 in 1974. The year 1973, however, had seen 15, of which several were in the public sector. The private sector plummeted to Rs 344.5 million from Rs 182.8 million in 1974, and the public sector sharply rose to Rs 835.1 million from 276.8 million respectively. Although significant changes in the economy of Pakistan of the year were unavoidable, yet the fate of Pakistan had been decided and the mismanagement of Bhutto's government couldn't save the ruins of previous year. To top it all, Bhutto made a key error by nationalizing flour mills, rice husking mills, and cotton factories. This one single decision by Bhutto was the most unpopular measure for which the PPP had to bear serious political costs. While all of the reforms and policies by Bhutto in this year had an ill fate, it cannot be denied that some external factors like a massive flood was beyond his control. Majority of the agricultural crops were destroyed, imports saw a boom with excessive expenditure on public good measures. The balance between exports and imports this year was a minus 11,718 million, which was pretty evident in economic results of this, where the GDP fell to a meager 2.9% per annum, which was the lowest in Bhutto's period. The inflation followed the trend of decreasing and dropped to 9.24% and 6.89% in 1976 and 1977 respectively, which was a good sign. With that, the investments in private and public sector were blowing through the roof, with the total investment increasing from Rs 1,176 million in 1975 to Rs 1,454.3 million in 1976 and Rs 2,404.4 million in 1977. Akbar Zaidi describes Bhutto's period as bad luck years in the sense that his government laid the foundations for future growth and development from which his successor benefited. Basic industries were set up and a base for capital goods industry was established, which resulted in subsequent growth. The Middle East boom that Bhutto initiated and historical irony in Pakistan helped Zia in power for some years. Pakistan was one of the first non-Arab Asian countries to actively engage in the large-scale export of labor to the Middle East as the oil revenue stimulated heavy capital investment in that region. So folks, this was all from our side. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a comment and hit the like button. Thank you.